where brevity is paramount. Or rather, where brevity was paramount at some stage. Do you know what? Brevity has never been paramount. 20 games in 40 minutes. It has never happened. Chet and John's fraudulent Porkie Pie playlist, more like dishonest, that's the word. Fuck the both of you.
Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. My name is John Denton. With me as always is Chet Roivas.
Wapan, everything Harry.
Everything Harry. So if you've not heard the podcast before, there's been 20, so you can go back and listen to them. It's really simple. 2 top 10 lists. Chet does one, I do the other. We rattle through them from 10 to 1. 10 being the game we played the least this week, and 1 being the game we played the most. Bit of banter, bit of discourse. What's your number 10, Chet?
Okay, right. My number 10 is Bomberman Blast on the Nintendo Wii. I've been on the Wii quite a lot recently, and it was just sitting there. And I remember that when WiiWare first came out, although I'd already been buying games on the Xbox, I was like, oh, what a novelty, buying a game online on the Wii. So I bought Bomberman Blast, which was one of the first WiiWare games, and yeah, it's absolute horseshit. I mean, the funny thing about Bomberman is that it's perfect. It's like Tetris. It's perfect when it's at its most simple. And yet, every time they update it, they throw in all this other stuff that fucks it up.
So what's in this one?
Well, there's when you die, you get thrown out of the arena and you just walk around throwing bombs back into the arena.
Oh, yeah.
But also, even now, I've played it quite a bit because I've had it for years, on and off, but I still don't know what probably 75% of the extra power-ups are. I don't know what they do. You don't need them. Why are they there? But the most interesting thing was that I turned it on and I jumped straight into an online game. So people are still playing it, weirdly enough. A full game. Really weird.
That is weird. What's it, about 5 years old now?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons.
That's surprising.
Yeah, really. But it's those games are perfect when they're simple, and they won't let them be simple, which is annoying.
Super Bomberman. You don't need it.
That's all you need. That's it.
Yeah. Do you remember Bomberman Zero?
Was that the 3D one?
Yeah, the Unreal Engine one or whatever it was. I think it was Unreal Engine.
I played the N64 one, so that was the last 3D one.
This was the 360 one.
Shit, I assume.
0 out of 10 sort of stuff. Yeah,
standard. Right,
my number 10 is another game that's very, very simple and pretty much perfect. It's chess on the iPad. I'm only going to mention it briefly. I don't even know what it's called. It's some sort of chess app. And the reason we didn't have a podcast last week is because, unfortunately, I was stuck in hospital with my little boy, so I won't on that. He's fine and on the mend. But, I was stuck overnight, a couple of different nights, with nothing to do. He was asleep, and the place was dark. So I thought, I'll play chess, because that's something to do. At least it makes my mind work a little bit. And I was like, yeah, chess is pretty good fun. And then just as I was saying chess is good, the game put me in checkmate with a move that wasn't checkmate. But it wasn't checkmate. It was like, no, I can take this piece. You're right in front of a pawn. And I'm pretty sure that's not checkmate. I've played chess before. And yeah, how could you possibly sell a chess game that doesn't know the rules?
Why would you want to play chess against a computer? That's my question.
I don't know. I just felt like Gary Kasparov for about 20 seconds. But honestly, when you're stuck in, all you can hear is the screams and beeps of a children's ward. You need to do something.
That's fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, fuck it. I couldn't believe it. It's the second I was getting into it.
It's not Chess with Friends, which was by the same people who did Words with Friends and Scramble and all that, is it?
No, it's just like chess.
Is that the title?
I can't remember. Chess game, chess app, I don't know.
I'm surprised.
It's the most bare bones. I think when I decided to get it ages ago, I thought, what's the cheapest and most bare bones chess game I can get? And it's that one.
Is that free?
I think it was either free or like a penny or something.
You don't have to pay rights to anyone when you do a chess game, do you? Surely not. Who?
Who made chess?
Mr. Chess? I don't know. I mean, there's no... But that's like in the public domain, right? So I assume there should be fucking 10 free chess apps on the App Store. No?
Yeah. Well, there were some freebies, yeah. But I think that some of them didn't have... I can't remember. I bought it ages ago. Yeah,
okay.
I can't believe we're still talking about it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. Right, okay, my number 9 is London 2012 on the Xbox 360.
Still fun?
It's still, I mean, it's really underrated, man. It's the previous Olympics games always got a bad rap because they were imperfect and they were a bit sort of all over the shop. But this is far more consistent. It looks lovely. It feels like a bit of an event game, which I wasn't expecting. And although I said they've thrown weightlifting, they've thrown button bashing out. The weightlifting one is a really good one. That's a button mash one where you mash the buttons, but when you're ready to lift the bar, you press both thumbsticks up, and if you do it at a wonky angle, you start to tilt, and you have to hammer harder. It's really
that sounds fun.
They're all like that, apart from the one that I said on the last episode, the kayaking. But you know, if I gave that the time, the only reason that's annoying is because you want all of them to be immediate.
Yeah.
I did the tutorial, didn't make sense, jumped in, still didn't make sense, fucked up. So that's, but at the moment, that's looking like the one standout shit one. All the others are really, really quite fun.
How many events are there?
I must have done. I mean, I've done like over 15, I think. Some of them are variations.
That's decent.
Yeah. Some of them are variations on similar things, and they work like diving is the same as trampolining, etc. But it's good, man. It's a really good Olympics game, and there's been a lot of not positive reviews. I mean, it doesn't deserve massive. I mean, I'd probably give it a 7 or an 8. I mean, it's very good, very good.
I do like a good bit of track and field.
Yeah, I don't mind them, and this is a good one.
So my number 9 is a game called Dynamite Jack on the iPad, which I did right at the beginning of the week before. So it's kind of blurry in my mind. It's not even very interesting to talk about. It's basically you play as a little space marine. It's a 2D top-down job, and you have to go around trying to get to the exit of these maps, and then you can use bombs to blow up the environment. And it's like a stealth game, so if any of the baddies see you, they kill you instantly. And so you have to like sneak behind their vision cones, Metal Gear style, or you can sort of set a bomb in their way and then detonate it as they walk past, and then get to the exit. It's all right. It's pretty shit. You can make your own levels. It's just a game I played. It's not really. Yeah, it's not. I can't really get enthused about it because as I was playing it, I was just wishing I was doing pretty much anything else.
Free?
No, it's either 69p or 199 or something. I can't remember.
Why did you buy it? Had you heard good things about it?
No, I don't. I'd be asked to review it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I thought you were going to say it was some kind of riff on Bomb Jack, and I was like, wow, that hasn't been done in ages. I'd quite like to see that.
Which one's Bomb Jack?
You're jumping around. I mean, to describe it is to make it sound like the most generic. You know what? It is the most generic thing. You're jumping around collecting bombs, avoiding bad guys. But I was obsessed with it when I was very young, so I'd always be fond of it. But yeah, it was. You probably played it if you just stick it into YouTube.
Yeah, I would have. I have. I definitely have. I just can't picture it for some reason. But no, this is. Yeah, it's very frustrating because the second you get seen, you instantly get killed and then kicked back to a save point.
Oh, brilliant!
It's all right, but yeah, it's not great. It's quite hard to control.
That's a big hurdle on a touchscreen game.
It is.
Okay, my number 8 is an iPhone game, also available on Android. It's Project 83113.
Oh yeah.
Have you played it?
Yeah. It's on the previous podcast.
Was it?
Yeah.
Fuck, my memory's so shit house. Was it really?
Yeah, a few weeks ago I did a review of it.
Jesus, I'll have to go back. What did you give it?
7, I think.
I haven't played that much, which is why it's number 8. But I saw, I think it was on Eurogamer, there was a review, and the first sentence, I think, was it likened it to a treasure game. So I was like, fuck, and it's free. Why not? It's really good. I've only done probably about 6 levels, but it's. Yeah, very good. It's a shooter, also a platformer, but it's all about being precise with your jumps because it's auto fire. You've already talked about this, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
Shit. Well,
yeah, you're entirely right. It started to get extraordinarily hard in a way that I found a bit unpalatable after a while because you're auto firing as opposed to in charge of your shots. I felt like I was just getting stitched up the whole time. But yeah, it's still a nice game.
Yeah. Did you meld any weapons together?
Yeah, that was quite cool.
Yeah,
making your own weapons. It's a cool game, especially for free.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it does everything for you. You just have to make sure you jump to avoid the gaps, to avoid the fire, to avoid the enemies and stuff. And I got a lot from that. Although I got to, I think, the 4th level in, and I was like, I'm not getting any stars. And then a message came up saying, if you want to start getting stars, complete the levels without getting hit. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's like hard from the first level.
I don't. And later on, I have no idea how you'd ever possibly do that because even getting through some corridors alive is almost impossible.
Wow. I like looking at whether hard games are hard because the designers were ignorant of what they were doing, or whether they've designed it so that you can really do. Whether you can, I'm sure you can do that. That's why it kind of excites me a bit. I'll play it some more. I think it's very good, and it's effing free.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, you can't.
That is
argue
good.
with that.
Yeah, it's got a weird name in case you didn't pick it up. Project 83113, which is a terrible name for anything.
No doubt.
My number 8 is Slender. Did you read about Slender on Videogame?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Did you play it?
No, I didn't. I'm going to.
It's if you don't. Sorry, I'll explain what it is quickly if you didn't see the article. It's like a free horror game, first person, where you walk around these woods, and it's based on the Slender Man, which was some sort of internet phenomenon, like photoshopped this scary man into pictures. So to be honest, I wasn't really aware of the phenomenon before reading about it in the article. Were you?
I wasn't. No, I saw that one picture at the top of the article. I was like, "Oh, that's quite eerie." I'm probably going to download it. Yeah.
The game is, I mean, it's free, so I don't want to be harsh on it, but it's not. It didn't affect me or get me as much as I think it did some other people. It's just an exercise in ramping up tension and then throwing a jump scare at you, which I've always found the cheapest way of doing horror. So you'll be walking through these woods, and the sound's kind of eerie, and you're looking out and things look like they might be something bad, and then you turn around and there's the fucking guy out there, and then you go, shit! And it comes right up on the screen and scares you. It's like watching those videos you always used to send me to drive me mad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where you watch the road and then the fucking zombie lady comes out. It kind of reminded me of that. It's good, but I felt the scare was a bit cheap.
Okay. What was the sound design like? Because that's always the key.
It's good, and you get put into these woods and you have to find 8 pages in the environment, and each page is like a little drawing of the Slender Man, seemingly drawn by kids, and every time you pick one up, like the music will add an extra layer onto it, so it's almost like a Nine Inch Nails track, and then it gets more and more foreboding. But yeah, when I saw the Slender Man, it scared me, and then it just crashed my game. I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but it's fine, but it's worth doing because it's free.
Yeah, I did intend to do it, and I will do it at some point. I did think that picture, although as I read into the character of Slender Man more, all the other images that people had mocked up, I was like, oh, a bit too explicit. Whereas the one where he's in the background of this old black and white photo, I was like, oh, that's like a bit unsettling. But I'll play it for sure.
Yeah, it's worth doing. It's worth doing, but yeah, I didn't go as nuts for it as some people.
Okay, fair play. Okay, my number 7 is Syndicate on the Xbox 360.
I was just thinking about this game.
Were you really?
Yeah, because I still haven't done I still haven't finished the single player.
Have you
just
not?
Next on my list, not on my list. This list, my to play list.
I was round a friend's house. He had to go out. I was basically there for an hour, and the only thing he had was Syndicate. So I started it. I just stuck it on, and I started it again. And it just
who the hell is the only game they have is Syndicate?
He only rents games from Love Film,
okay.
so he only has a disc at a time, and he doesn't buy games because he's a fucking weirdo. Or he's just skin, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
It brought back everything that for anyone that doesn't know, I got so upset with the reaction to Syndicate that I actually went out of my way to write an article for the website where the podcast is, because so many people decided that because they loved the original so much. I mean, basically, if you go onto any website that reviewed Syndicate or wrote about Syndicate, even after it came out, it's just bombed by people who haven't played it, saying how shit it is and how cynical it is and how rubbish it is, and playing it again as soon as it starts, you're just like, this is so good. It's so good. It should have catapulted Starbreeze to I mean, honestly, it's such a good game. It's so polished. It's so fun to play. It is just so fun, so nice looking. I mean, the plot is still actually the most nonsensical load of nonsense ever. But man, it's just such a disappointment that it was the internet decided that it was a shit game and just decided to try and destroy it. And it's a real shame because it really is fucking good, and you can get it for less than half what it cost at launch. So just if you like shooters, you've got to take a punt on it because it is just great. It really is just great.
Yeah, like I said, that is next on my to play list. I really like what I played. We talked about it on early podcasts quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm very unfairly battered, along with that XCOM game, which I haven't played, so I can't say whether or not it's good, but it looked good, and the team behind it were brilliant. It's the guy behind Bioshock 2 who's very, very smart man, and it's just kind of, I'd be amazed that game even comes out now. It's taken such a kicking online.
Yeah, so, but
it looked really cool to me.
When you film reviewers, music reviewers, 9 times out of 10, there's no place for you to put your comments underneath the review. And when you read a review of a game, part and parcel of it is reading all these other comments, and you end up taking some of them on board. And people abuse that to fuck, which is what they did with Syndicate. It's a shame because it's such a nice game. It really is just slick and lovely. I really do rate it. I'd be surprised if it wasn't in my top 10 of the year. And it's just such a shame that people I know haven't played it. Friends of mine haven't played it. I know it comes at a time when there's shooters everywhere and stuff, but man, it's a shame. It's a damn shame.
Yeah, and what's it like, 12, 15 quid now?
Yeah, you can get it for that easy, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, that might be on my list next week because I might have time to get stuck back in, but definitely soon. It's still got it, so it's happening. Now, for number 7 is the ubiquitous Chet and John's game, Battlefield 3.
Wow.
We played it together, didn't we?
I know, I forgot about that.
And it was good fun. It was good fun on your server. You may have read my article on Eurogamer about the servers and the situation there that seemed to be reasonably popular. But it's certainly, if you do bite the bullet, as you did, and buy a server, it does make the whole thing a hell of a lot more fun. Well, it just makes the whole thing exactly as it should be, really.
Yeah.
And we had a good time sessioning up Battlefield quite a while ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to bang on about it too much because we talk about it too much. But yeah, Battlefield.
I love Battlefield. I love it. Me and my friend were taking it turns to play the other day, and every few minutes one of us would say, God, I love Battlefield. It's just so good. It's a masterpiece, best game ever made. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, my number 6 is Super Mario 3D Land on the Nintendo 3DS.
Nice.
Nintendo were kind enough to send me the new 3DS, the 3DS XL. And that's the first game. Actually, no, I tell a lie. I put Kid Icarus into it and did the opening sequences, and it still looks as great as it always did. But although the screens are the same screens, just bigger, I don't think that hurts it because I always kind of thought that the screens on the 3DS were a bit too small anyway. Mm-hmm. So they don't detract from the experience. But the most important thing is just it feels like it's as comfortable to hold as a 360 control pad.
That's what I need.
I didn't realise it until I'd lost an hour into 3D Land on a train. Completely, a train journey was gone in an hour and I just sat there playing it relentlessly. And I didn't realise, but up until that point, using the old 3DS, I'd always taken breaks every 25 minutes or so without even realising. Maybe if it was just to make a cup of tea or go and do something, but I'd never sat there for that long on a 3DS, and that's because this is just so comfortable to hold. But you can just get lost in it, and I got lost in Mario 3D Land, and it's still a masterpiece. What can you say? It's still a masterpiece.
Yeah, I've been trucking through it very slowly. It's not on my list this week, but yeah, I'll be playing that slowly for the rest of the year, I would have thought. But with you, I think I might have to get the big DS. The XL, is that what it's called? XL.
Yes, it's essential if you've got big hands.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I've not got the world's biggest hands or anything. I'm not the Slender Man, but yeah, it's just Claw City playing on that thing. Yeah, especially, it's pure claw. It's well annoying.
That's the major selling point, but the other thing is there's loads of extra memory, and it's I think it's an essential upgrade.
What's the battery life like?
Oh, actually, that's the other thing. My girlfriend's really fond of street passing, so I tend to just bring it around street passing. I used to get on standby just under 2 days. On this one, I got over 4 without flipping it on. But whilst playing games, I don't know. I think it's something like double, roughly.
That does make a difference because I've had it run out and trained so many times when I forgot to fully charge it beforehand.
Yeah, it is noticeable, the battery life for sure.
That's good. Right, and number 6, no segue, straight in, Dust 514. Oh, great, can't even say it. Dust 514. There's lots of games with stupid numbers at the end this week. Do you know what Dust 514 is?
Vaguely.
Right, it's really, really difficult to explain. It's an online free-to-play shooter coming to PS3 where it is connected to the game EVE Online, the PC space ship-based MMO.
Yeah.
How it works is that these giant corporations, player-controlled corporations in EVE, will be able to hire mercenaries to go and play in Dust, which is a sort of fairly standard, big, open online shooter on PS3. All that stuff isn't quite working yet, obviously, because this was just a closed beta. But all that stuff's so interesting. These grand ideas, it's the amazing stuff. And when you read about it, when I first heard about it, they sound like game changers. You know, they sound like this is the future, but they're only the future if the game itself works. And at the moment, it's not very good. Now I'm forgiving it frame rate issues. I'm forgiving it hit detection issues because it's a closed beta, and I'd be ignorant to expect it to be running smoothly, and connection issues. That all that's fine, but there are problems. The guns don't feel good. The maps are barely even maps. They're just kind of open bits of terrain. Killing, there's no real satisfaction in taking someone out. There's kind of like stuff like when you play a lot of online shooters like you and I do, things like how many bullets it takes to take someone out. They're fundamental aspects of how the game plays. So a game like Battlefield or COD, it's, there's 3 or 4 bullets and you're dead, and that changes the whole dynamic. Whereas a game like Halo is more spray and pray. Spray and pay? Pray and spray?
Pray and spray.
Jesus. Spray and pray. Idiot. With the assault rifles, but there's a kind of pyramid around power weapons that you have that base of spraying and praying, but it's built around, you're supposed to hoard the power weapons and they're more powerful. This is just the basic assault rifle. Feels like a pea shooter, but there's nothing to balance that out with. It just feels like it's just a bit off. It feels like a kind of cheap online shooter from the beginning, sort of PS2 era at the moment. And the main game mode is like a very, very similar to Battlefield, kind of equivalent to taking out MCOM state. In fact, I'm mumbling. It's halfway between Conquest and Rush. That's its main game mode. Like Conquest type points, but you go and do Rush stuff to them. So you're trying to blow them up, but you can take them and recapture them.
And you're on foot?
You're on foot, but you can also be in vehicles. There's vehicles you can spawn in.
When you said shooter, for some reason I pictured like a side-scrolling shooter with spaceships and stuff. Okay, right, it's a first-person shooter.
Sorry, it's an FPS, a Battlefield type game.
Got you.
Free to play. And it's just not there yet. And if they're going to attract a big PS3 console audience, which they want to do, they need to get those fundamentals right. But it's such a difficult game to talk about because there's so much going on with all these grand ideas and how it works, and there's like going to be people in spaceships above, there's like commanders commanding the battlefield, all this crazy stuff. But if the gun-on-gun action ain't fun, the rest might as well not exist.
But the beta is just to stress test servers and stuff. They're not going to be fundamental changes made after that, are they?
I'd imagine there will be a reasonable amount of changes to balancing and how many bullets it takes, things like that. There's not going to be huge changes to the maps and things, but I guess you can forego great map design a little bit when you know that you're interacting with these corporations and stuff. And I guess if you're really, really into EVE, which I'm not, this stuff will be far more significant. But if you're Johnny Shooter wanting a new shooter, it's not going to be this one, I don't think.
Okay.
Not so far.
Okay, my number 5 is Sine Mora on the Xbox 360. I haven't given up on it yet. I refuse to give up on it.
You're trying to force yourself to like it?
No, I'm not. I feel like it's written in a language that I'm still learning. So I want to, before I judge it, I want to know what it's talking about.
Yeah.
It is a funny one. There have been so many times when I've just felt it's so hard to describe. There's something so beautiful about cave shooters, and it's why I love them so much, because even when they're at their most ferociously difficult, you can still see, I know, if I put the hours in, if I really studied this, I could do it without getting hit at all. And they've gone to the trouble of structuring it like that, and that's why I just think they're masterpieces, so many of them. The controls are very, very slippery. There's moments where you feel like it's relentlessly difficult, and it's just it felt to me like COD, the Call of Duty games, the most recent ones, on the hardest difficulty, where all they do is they ramp up the amount of damage that a gunshot does, and they ramp up the amount of bullets that it takes to kill enemies. That's it. No thought's gone into it, like Halo and Legendary, where they sculpt these moments so that you have to use your head. It just feels like there's something just unrewarding about it, and the controls, they don't sit right with me, and it's annoying because it's such a beautiful looking game and I love everything about it. I love the fact that I love the story. I mean, you've played it, right? It's just there's sort of like dogs.
I played it very. I played the trial.
And I mean, it's nonsense, but it's kind of engaging nonsense. I mean, when I say nonsense, I mean just fucking complete bullshit. Dogs in World War II and all this stuff, and some of them speak Russian, and some of them, I mean, it's just rubbish. But as a shooter, I can't get behind it yet. But I'm not done. I am not done. I need to. It still feels like it's talking to me, and I'm not quite getting it. But one more session, I think I'll either be done or proclaiming it to be a masterpiece. We'll see.
I'm impressed that you've gone back to it though, because you said you were going to.
It's a shooter. Why wouldn't I? That's my boy. They're my boys, shooters. Those sort of cave style. I mean, I want to love it so much, and it's by Grasshopper. I think I told you this before. When they first announced it with that video, Grasshopper are doing a side-scrolling shooter. I didn't sleep that night. I was that pumped for it, and
but it's not really. It's not sort of that much Grasshopper, is it? This one, it's more that Hungarian team.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's just them.
Digital Extremes, is it? Yeah,
that's right. But it's the fact that they're not. They don't let anything come under the umbrella of that name, so it seemed to me that it had to be special, and it might be, but at the moment it's not. It's just fucked. It just fucks me off, and I'm convinced that it's not as brilliant as some people say it is. But I'll keep playing it, and I'll let you know.
I liked what I played, but I don't know. I've said this before. My knowledge of this genre is poor. I'm a casual shooter player.
But didn't you just think it was like way too? I mean, there's difficult, and then there's like.
I played it on the easier mode though, so it wasn't that hard.
So am I.
But in the trial, the trial really isn't that hard. But I'm sure it gets a lot harder.
Yeah, okay. I didn't play the trial, so I've no idea.
Yeah, it looks nice though.
It looks lovely. One of the best XBLA games for sure.
Number 5, Grasshopper. Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh, still?
I finished it. Yeah, well, I finished it. I finished it bloody ages ago, but we haven't done a podcast for a week.
Yeah, true.
So, I absolutely love it. It will be in my top 5 of the year, definitely, if not higher. A brilliant game. I had all this stuff to talk about, but it's kind of fallen out of my head a little bit in the 2 weeks since I finished it. But I love the way Suda and Grasshopper just don't let their games peter out. So many games that you play, especially when you're a reviewer and you play a lot of middling games to the end where most people would ditch it, trade it in. So many games are front loaded and you get all this cool stuff in the first few hours and then it just descends into warehouse levels, docks levels. Every fucking game does it. But Suda's games never do. They just ramp up and up and up and up. And by the end of, same as Shadows of the Damned, and by the end of Lollipop, it's just absolutely nuts. You've experienced all these different types of gameplay. The story's hilarious. It's probably the most like easy to follow story, isn't it? Of their games, even though it's bonkers. And I love all the like riffing and piss taking of different musical genres and the fans and like how all those genres are turned into pop music. There's loads of different like texture to the game, but ultimately it's just tremendous fun, and I don't think I stopped smiling. I don't think I stopped smiling for a minute. I loved every minute, apart from the baseball bit, which I even though that was annoying, it was still kind of cool because I like the fact that you're playing baseball for no reason in the middle of the game. But apart from that, I don't think I stopped grinning from beginning to end, and straight away I was just like, I'm going to start this again. Yeah,
I'm in exactly the same boat, and I'm going to go back and do it on hard. I did. The only thing that I thought was a bit strange was that I went back and redid the final boss because there's 2 endings, isn't there?
Yeah.
If you go and rescue everyone, you can have a happy ending. And I was disappointed because I thought there'd be some difference between them, but there's really not. They're kind of just, a 30-second animated cutscene in one, something happens, in another, something else happens. It's just like I thought I expected something a little bit more off the wall than that.
Oh, that's a shame.
But I don't remember. I think they don't. Suda doesn't really do great endings. The endings of any of his games don't really stand out for me. Even Shadows of the Dam, which I played through 3 times last year, and I can't even remember how that ended.
In terms of cutscene endings?
Well, no, just the way the story wraps up. Shadows of the Dam. Oh, actually, I do remember. But that was a kind of anticlimax as well.
But the way the last sort of boss of Shadows of the Damned is amazing.
Yeah, I like the way that it was all relatively... for a Suda game, it was relatively sort of tame, and then it just, like, we've done all these school stereotypes. Now we're just going to throw you into the grasp of a gigantic Elvis.
Yeah. Well, just spoilers if you haven't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I didn't think of that. But yeah, I mean, it really is a fantastic game, and it's annoying. It's another one that a lot of people who haven't played have got very strong opinions on, and it's kind of a shame because it's damn good.
And all that stuff about, you know, the sexism, we talked about it before.
Yeah.
By the second half of the game, it's not even a thing. It doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's just a game about a load of nonsense. Spoiler if you haven't played it, shut your ears or something. But the bit at the last boss where her dad appears and it's like a Celine Dion song, I just lost it. That was one of my favourite moments ever.
Yeah, it does go full on. I like that. That was just after the makeover bit, which I really found amusing as well. Just a fucking good game. I just hope he's allowed to keep doing what he does for as long as possible.
Well, that's done pretty well.
So I hear.
From what I can tell, and he seemingly keeps his budgets low compared to most games. So fingers crossed. Yeah, we said it the other week. I live in constant fear that he's not going to be able to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Someone's going to tell him he can't do it anymore. But you know, there's still chucking games out there.
Indeed. Long may that continue. My number 4 is Beat the Beat Rhythm Paradise on the Nintendo Wii.
I want to play this. It looks cool.
It's funny, every review I've read, and just whenever there's talk about it online, everyone seems to enjoy the minigame that I spoke about last time with the wrestlers and the little girl as much as I did. But that true? Yes. Whenever you see something written about the game, someone says something along those lines, because that's a really memorable part. I mean, it's a game that instantly earns itself a place on, you know, it's there to stay. It's got classic status already. It's just so entertaining, so enjoyable. It made me realise something weird though. A friend of mine came around and we were playing the mini game that I mentioned last time, which shouldn't be entertaining, which is just a little guy jumping over a metronome, a stick man. Shouldn't be entertaining. Gripped us for the best part of 20 minutes. But he said, "Oh, why isn't there online leaderboards?" And I was like, "Well, I suppose that would be annoying." But it just made me realise that the Wii is our last link to the previous console generation.
Yeah.
There's something to being completely offline in the way that puts you. I mean, because when you're playing a game on Xbox, press pause to go make a cup of tea. I always just check what my friends are doing. You're in a different place. And on the Wii, it's just a reminder. I mean, that's one of the reasons I think why Pandora's Tower is one of my favourite games of the year, because I was in that world until I turned off the Wii. It wasn't other stuff sort of polluting it, and it's just it's realising
there's something to be said for that.
There is, and that's why I'm starting to. I've never stopped loving the Wii, but recently with Project Zero and this and Pandora's Tower, I'm just like, wow, does take you back to a different time. But anyway, Beat the Beat Rhythm Paradise, it really is. It's a classic. It's just classic Nintendo.
I really want to play it.
You should.
But it's quite pricey.
They don't drop their games Nintendo
I know.
price, do they?
It's just quite pricey for like a smallish type of game. That just makes it like a £15 game, really.
Yeah.
I don't like talking about value because everyone's finances are different. But personally,
there's a lot
under
of
£20, I'd be more inclined.
I understand, and I understand that totally. And it looks like it should be a download game. It's a classic, basically.
Damn. Yeah, I'm sure I'll play it one day. The Wii is hooked back up, so
genuine.
Yeah. My number 4 is a little gleamer. That's what I've been saying that over and over to the screen as I've been playing a little gleamer, Spelunky, on the Xbox Live Arcade service. Spelunky's awesome. It's you might have seen some of the reviews flying around, some very high scores. Eurogamer dropped a 10 on it. I haven't played it enough to know whether I agree with that or not, but it's kind of, who cares if I agree with it. The game is fantastic. It is a platformer with randomly generated levels where you're a cave, you're an Indiana Jones type basically, and you're trying to get to the bottom of each level and pick up as much treasure as you can on the way. But the levels are randomly generated, but they don't feel like they are, because they feel like they've been brilliantly designed. And every time you get to a new level, the game is just so full of surprises. It's hard to explain in minimal words exactly what the game is. But imagine something between Dark Souls' unrelenting punishment and like almost a Bethesda game sense of wonder and discovery. And every time you go somewhere, you see something new, and you're like, "Wow, what the hell is that?" but in a 2D old school Amiga style, very Amiga style platformer. I love it. Do you need ask me some questions about it? That might be a bit better way to describe it.
Is it? I mean, I thought it was just a platformer.
It's no. The whole point of it is that there's 4 worlds, each with 4 levels in, and you're trying to get to the end of the game. And I think I've got to level 2-1. That's the furthest I've got. So you die. You got like 4 bits of energy, and then you die, and that's it. Permanent death, and you're kicked all the way back to the beginning of the game. But it's different. You start again, and all the levels are completely different. All the stuff in them's different. The enemies are different, and then just there are all these weird things that happen, like ghosts that just appear and chase you around the level. Huge ghosts, or like earthquakes. Or at one point, there's little shops that appear sometimes where you can go and buy shotguns and boots and like gloves that help you climb up walls, all this sort of stuff. And one time it was just one of the shops was the guy was having a shotgun battle with this guy that tried to hold him up. I have no idea who he even was or what they were doing in there. Every time I play it, I see something new, and it's hard as fuck, but it's absolutely completely unpretentious. I said to you, in fact, when I was reading about it, that I was kind of getting a bit of a Fezzy vibe off it, a bit of a Brady vibe. It's like, am I going to like this? Is this one of those games? Completely nothing like that. It just wants you to like it. It's not trying to be cool. It just wants you to like it and play it, and then it wants to screw you over and send you back to the beginning.
Doesn't the random nature just completely? Isn't that just frustrating as hell?
No. It's how you need to play it, basically. It's if it wasn't random and the levels were the same every time, the game would be crap. You'd never want to play it. Every single time is a new challenge, and it's a platformer, but you have to be slow and careful, because at any corner you can get stitched up, you can step on a trap, a spider can drop on your head and kill you. So while it is a platformer in the sense that it's 2D and you jump between platforms, it's more like a cave exploration game. Hence the title. But
is it? So I assume, without doubt, it's worth 1,200 points.
Yes, so you will love it.
Fuck. Okay, I've got enough points for Tony Hawk next week, and I might try and raise the funds elsewhere. But yeah, okay, I'm going to check that out.
It's tough because the trial is mainly the tutorial, and you don't get what the game is from playing the tutorial. You need to play the game properly and then get kicked back to the beginning a few times and start to get your head around what it is. And hell, I don't even know what it is to do. I'm only on 2-1. That's the furthest I've got. So yeah, I've seen screenshots of the later parts, and it's just mental, the stuff that you see.
See, I'm always fascinated by games that I can't grasp from what I read and hear about them. I still don't know what the fuck that's going to be when I download it. But yeah, screw it. I'll at least get the trial.
Yeah, just keep. But it's tough because the trial is not. It's not very well representative of what the game is.
Shit. Okay. I'm going to try.
It takes about an hour to get your head around the game, and then it will be a game that I play for years. I'm sure.
Fuck.
I'll just stick it back on and play it for an hour. Try and get further.
Okay, but I said that about that Pac-Man HD remix. That was like brilliant. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10s. Everyone's going raves, and I that's a game that I bought, and I was like, I'll go back to it. But then again, we say we're going to go back to everything, so I can't really pick you up on that. I'm going to pick that up. Okay, my number 3 is Inversion on the 360. Is it on your list?
Excuse me, it's not on my list, but I have played Inversion in the past, so okay. I'm aware of its charms.
In any other time of year, it would get ignored, and probably rightly so. But at this time of year, when there's no competition, if you want a co-op dumbass action game, it's hard not to recommend it. I mean, it's
dumbass being the operative word.
Oh, I mean, dumbass. The whole way time I was playing it, I say this a lot about kind of dumb action games, but this felt more like it reminded me of Dead to Rights Retribution, which was a game I really liked.
Oh yeah.
But I was convinced that the script started life as a film script, and this feels like it should have been a Dolph Lundgren movie that got thrown out because they couldn't afford the budget or whatever. Because it's just got there's something so amiable about something that's this stupid. Because I mean the plot really is. In the opening 2 hours, there's an alien invasion. You and your partner, who looks like Dom Santiago from Gears, which is important, get kidnapped by these aliens, and then you get thrown down for no. They don't explain why. They throw you into these caves with this device.
The most powerful weapon known to man.
And they don't tell you why you're there, and you're walking around going, "Oh, why are we here?" And then you try to escape, and then they capture you again, and then they lock you up in some cells, and you escape from them. You escape from those cells because the guys guarding you leave the fucking keys in the lock. It's just like it's the kind of film 5 years ago, or 10 years ago rather, you'd go and get a takeaway and some beers, and you go to Blockbuster and you pick something that looks shit, and you spend 90 minutes shouting at how stupid it was. Yeah. But there's something very, very pleasurable about that. The gameplay is generic. It wants to be Gears. It's not quite.
It's not bad though, is it? It's
not. It really isn't. I mean, I'm the guy who Never Dead. I was a bit more forgiving of Call of Juarez: The Cartel than most people. I like games that are sort of pitching themselves at a kind of B-movie audience, and that's what this is doing. It is fun to play. It's difficult.
Some of the gravity stuff's kind of cool. It's completely inconsistent, isn't it? Flying up on a ceiling, and they just do what they want.
Yeah, the flying controls don't work as well as they do in Dead Space, which is what came to mind. And it's nice to have a co-op game. Is this on? I couldn't tell. Is the co-op online as well as offline?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
That's that. Whenever a game comes out and they don't make a big noise about that, I'm always mystified because people want co-op experiences. They really do. The opening 2 hours are really stop-start. You kill a few guys. You move forward, cutscene. You kill a few more guys, you move forward, cutscene. And there's something very, very endearingly lo-fi about it. So the biggest skirmish I had in the opening 2 hours, it was 6 guys. So you're like, right, here we go, action stations, and then you kill 6 guys, walk forward, and then it's over. It's like, what? Yeah. Even there's a cutscene where you walk into this bit, and your partner goes, "Oh God, man, this must be a mass grave where they dump all the bodies." And there's 3 corpses in the, and you're just like, come on, man. I mean, it's dumb as fuck, but there's we're in a drought now. There's no games coming out for a couple of months, and this is and they're not smartly. They're not releasing it at full price either. I think it's got a £30 RRP rather than.
That's good. Same as Lollipop.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fuck. I mean, you can't even mention those two in the same sentence. But if you like what it looks like, you're going to enjoy it. It's a shit Gears ripoff, but it's not shit. Kind of.
That's the vibe I got. I probably did about a third of it in the preview time that I had with it, and I completely agree with you. I was like, this is fun. Shit, but it's good fun.
I'll tell you what it reminded me of: Dark Void. A game that so many people hated, and I was like, man, it's like a dumb. I hate to reference the 80s repeatedly, but it is like one of those unpretentious. We're just trying to make us, I don't even know what to say. It's just,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
It's shit, but not shit. Oh no, but it is shit. That little exchange I just had with myself could go on for the rest of eternity, and that would explain the game. I didn't try the multiplayer though, so I don't know.
Don't. It will make you hate all of the game, so don't touch it.
If I wasn't working in this game and I had to pay for everything I played, I'd probably still get it because that's me.
Inversion.
Yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah. So my number 3 is No More Heroes 2: Desperate Struggle.
Get in.
Which I've played a ton of, and I like it a lot. It's all the stuff that I didn't like about No More Heroes 1 has been stripped out. The open world, even though I found the open world hilarious in the first one, eventually it annoyed me. The having to do the jobs to get the next mission annoyed me. None of that stuff's in there now. I love the new jobs, the old school retro style games, especially the one where you're cooking steak, which is just fucking brilliant. You know that one?
Steak. Go on.
You just stand there cooking steak, and then the person will come in and be like, medium.
Yeah, that's right.
Delicious. Yeah, that's brilliant. And the combat is still really good, as it was in No More Heroes 1. And it's just batshit mental.
Yeah.
But at the bit I'm at, it's not quite mental enough for me at the moment. So I'm hoping it ramps up again towards the end, because so early on you get that Glastonbury moment where
that's the classic.
Yeah, it's just amazing, and I was kind of hoping that it would continue on a crescendo of insanity, but it's kind of tapered back to just sort of standard level mentalness. So I'm hoping there's a bit more absolute nut stuff going on later on. But yeah, very, very appealing game, and it's nice to have the Wii back. And Suda. I said I was on a Suda tip, and I definitely am. I'm glad that I got it. Very, very glad.
I might have to borrow that off you because I remember afterwards I thought that was his masterpiece, just because it seemed so much more unruly than everything else he'd done. Have you played the cave shooter that you play from your living room on the TV?
Yeah, that's good.
I completed that 3 times, I think.
Did you?
That's how much I enjoyed it. But I want to play that game again. But at the time, I remember I was just like, this is the best game he'll ever make.
See, I'm not feeling that so far. I really like it, but it's the last level I did was a really, really bland environment in the main level, and then the boss was just not that good. It was probably the worst boss in the game. I don't want to spoil it in case people.
Was it the Rasta guy with the stereo?
Wrestler guy with the stereo.
The big Rasta guy, Rasta man. Oh, is that No Heroes 1? You won't forget him. He's a massive Rasta bloke with a ghetto blaster. You won't have forgotten if you've played against him.
No, it's Destroy Man, but 2 of them. When he's been split in half, and
oh god, I can't remember.
From the first one. So the guy looks like Captain America, but there's 2 of them.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, I found that okay, but
it was fine. But it was just the whole level was a bit blank. It was just in a big open car park basically, and then the boss he kept running away. It was just a bit boring. But the story seems like it's going to kick back up again now. So
okay, fair play.
Yeah, and I don't find it as unruly as the first one so far.
Really?
That was just a fucking mess. Yeah, in a good way, mainly.
That's
but my opinions will be finalised when I finish it, which I'm sure I will before next podcast.
Cool.
But I'm very, very glad I'm playing it and enjoying it thoroughly.
No doubt. Okay. Okay, my number 2 is Battlefield 3. I won't say much about it. We played. I've got a server. There's inconsistent owning a server and being in a situation where 3 of you start your game rolling, and then within 10 minutes it's full, versus 3 of you are in there pissing around by yourselves for an hour. It's 50-50, which is really disappointing because there's if you buy a server, you expect there to be some kind of process in place that will ensure that you fill your room, or at least they try to fill your room, and sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's annoying. Apart from that, encountered over the last 2 nights baffling guys. I don't know what their deal is. I've had to ban a load of people because they jump into the game, they fly into a chopper. We were on nose hair canals the other night. They fly into the chopper, they cover it in C4, they fly down, and then they just kill everybody. As you approach, the pilot jumps out, you all hit the ground, they C4 the chopper, you all die. 6 guys. I mean, I don't know whether it's people who were meant to be on the other team with their friends or what, but I just had to ban a load of people because that kept happening. They'd C4 a vehicle, all get in it, drive up to somewhere, and then blow it up. What the fuck?
Let's try.
Weirdos.
Yeah, at least you're in charge, though.
Genuine.
My number 2 is a game that I've been playing all afternoon, and it is called Thomas Was Alone. Have you heard people talking about it this week?
Yes. Not this week, but I've definitely heard the title, yeah.
It is a PC indie game. It is very, 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 very good. I haven't finished it yet. I will probably play it again after this podcast. If this doesn't end up in my top 3 of the year, I'd be surprised. I'm absolutely bowled over by how good it is. And this is a game about controlling rectangles. It's difficult to explain. The first rectangle is called Thomas, and he meets other rectangles with similarly basic names: James, Laura, Claire, Chris, John. All of them have different personality traits and physical capabilities. Some can jump higher than others, etc. And the game is basically a platform puzzler. It has a kind of Portally vibe to it, in that it's sort of a sciencey type thing, but whimsical science. That's I'd call it as a subgenre, a whimsical science puzzler. But it's narrated by, I think, Danny Wilson. Is that his name? Danny Wallace.
Danny Wallace. Yeah.
Yeah. Not the ex Sheffield Wednesday manager, but I'm pretty sure it's Danny Wallace narrating. Basically, a. Oh God! How terrible am I explaining this? All the characters have internal monologues, and those are narrated by Danny Wallace. Sort of maybe 1 or 2 per level, very short levels, and you're trying to get all your little pieces into the little portals at the end. That's the point, and you can stack them up on top of each other and stuff. But everything's lent this real character and charm by this narration, which is superbly written. and very well acted, a hell of a lot better than his fucking character in Assassin's Creed, who I despise.
Yeah.
But that combined with music it's up there with Max Payne 3 for music of the year in a game so far. Absolutely superb music, and it just lends the whole thing a kind of atmosphere and sense of place and sense of being that really belies what is essentially a well-designed but very basic, 2D puzzle game. I'm amazing. It's amazing so far.
What format is it? Is it PC?
PC and Mac, yeah.
How much is it?
£6.
Where do you get it?
Sorry?
Where do you get it from?
Go to... I got it off this thing called Desura, which is like Steam but for indie games. But if you type in thomaswasalone.com, I'm sure it has 2 different ways of getting it from there. You can buy it direct from the guy, or buy it from this thing. But just Google Thomas Was Alone. Okay. But fantastic.
That's a game I've read people talking about, primarily via social media, and I already had an idea in my head of what it was. I didn't realise it was like that. That's
Nor did I. It's not like that annoying type of pretentiousness that some of these games have. I'm going to use Fez again as an example. I think I just really don't like the guy that made Fez, so it makes the kind of arrogance involved. I actually had direct dealings with them years ago as well, and they just refused to do an interview because they said they'd done enough. They were just really rude. But it's kind of got an English charm to it. It's warm and welcoming and friendly and very, very clever. And the story it's about AIs becoming sentient, but in a really charming way. If Valve had made this game, it wouldn't surprise me. That's what I kept saying to myself as I was playing it. There's a few fiddly bits, and it could be there's a couple of tiny bugs and things like that, but all of those are eminently forgivable. I can't wait to get to the end. I just want to know what happens and play more of the levels. Yeah,
okay.
I love it.
Wow,
brilliant.
Wow. Right, my number 1 is Spec Ops: The Line, but I want to get really spoilery. But you finished it, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay, I want to get really spoilery, so let's do your number 1 first, and then if anyone hasn't played it, they can switch off. So, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is New Star Soccer by a mile.
Oh, of course, yeah.
A game like that, we talked about it, is a time killer, a time waster almost. When you're stuck in a situation where you can do nothing but interact with your iPhone or try and sleep in tremendous and unpleasant noise, it suddenly changes from being a time waster into a very rewarding and enjoyable thing to do. And I played it for hours and hours and hours last week in the hospital, and I just want to kind of say thank you to the guy that made it. I think his name's Simon Reed, for making something so compelling and so good at taking your mind off stuff that's going on. I'm amazed that I managed to play. I mean, I must have played it at one point for about 4 straight hours. I can't remember. I never play anything for that long. I always take breaks and do other things. Absolutely captivating video game that is so simple, and the sense of progression is you get better and you up your skills and you move to... I'm now in the top flight of Italian football and, on the fringes of the England squad, stuff like that. And you can feel how much better you are at shooting and passing, and you start to feel like a maestro, like one of these great players by fucking dragging an arrow around on a 2D screen. Amazing game.
Is it going to deal with your decline? Do you get older and out of shape and stuff like that?
I don't know, because I'm still only 20, so you have to play it for a long, long time. But, I don't know what happens towards the end of your career.
Yeah, for a game like that, I suppose it would be stupid for them to do that and sort of basically deteriorate the game and make you go through the depression of not nailing stuff. I suppose that...
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with it with regards to that, but tremendous fun. Tremendous game. It's up there. I've talked about Game of the Year stuff, so I've been thinking about what's there so far, sort of half-year Game of the Year stuff, and that's creeping towards top spot.
Shit.
Yeah. As for many other people I've been reading and seeing.
Understandable, because just from what I played, I was like, ugh, I could get so lost in it.
Yeah.
And I don't like football, so that's as big an advert as you can have.
Exactly.
Okay, right, my number 1 is Spec Ops: The Line. As I said, if you haven't played it and you intend to play it, I want to get spoilery, so if you're not interested in hearing any of that stuff, please feel free to switch off now.
Switch off and we'll see you next week.
Genuine, have a good one. Okay, I don't know where to start. There's so much stuff.
Right.
You finished it, didn't you?
I finished it. It's a little bit blurry in my mind, but when you talk about it, I reckon it will spark the game, if that makes any sense.
Okay. The only thing stopping it from being a masterpiece is the fact that it's a generic action game, and it had to be a generic action game to say some of the things that it said towards the end. It's so difficult because it's one. I have so many thoughts in it. I don't even know where to start. First of all, I didn't know where it was going, and for somebody who thought that I knew where it was going and that it was going to be about this guy going mad, and to some extent that is what it's about, but I didn't know the route it was going to take. I expected kind of Eternal Darkness style, sort of very flashy flourishes, and I only got 2 or 3 of those, and they were very, very sparingly used, which was really nice. A lot of people bleated on when this came out about how, oh god, yet another game that was inspired by Heart of Darkness. I never. Apparently, everyone else seems to have read Heart of Darkness in school. Did you?
No.
Neither did I. So I understand that a lot of things owe a debt to Heart of Darkness, but as I approached the finale, or rather when I finished the game and I realised that it actually owes its biggest debt to Fight Club, I was kind of like, it did it well, but at the same time, Fight Club, one of the best films made in my lifetime, no question, but leave it alone. I mean, it owed such a big debt to Fight Club. I was like, I was simultaneously disappointed and shocked that they'd managed to take me round to that route without me realising that was coming. The world's amazing. It's the most, I've never felt that, I haven't felt that in a world since probably Metro 2033. I don't think it was fully rounded, and yeah, I really felt like I was there a lot of times. There were so many. I'll tell you what. The first time when I started to get an inkling about where it was going, actually, I almost threw my pad across the floor, because they do a nice thing whereby on the menu screens, the loading screens, it says, for the first half of the game, it's, press X to do this, press B. If you do this, you'll do, gameplay tips like in every other game. And as it starts to progress, it starts asking you stupid questions like, do you feel like a hero now? Do you think you're the big guy and all that stuff? I was like, okay, that's quite nice. And then one quote came up and it said, I'm paraphrasing, it said something along the lines of, killing for revenge is murder. Killing for your country is genocide. Killing for entertainment, well, that's just fine. And I swear to God, I almost threw my controller across the room, because I was like, don't fucking preach to me when I've just gunned down 1 million people playing a game. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. There was this dance tune that I think it was Seb Fontaine used to play about over 10 years ago. He used to put it on at like 3 in the morning when he'd play in Brighton. And it was a piece of house music. It was quite catchy and stuff. But there was this droning voice in the background saying, "Get a life, you drug addicts. Get a life, you drug addicts." And I was like, okay, how clever. Yeah, there's a load of druggies in here, and they're probably so fucked off their heads that they don't realise that you're saying that, or they do, and they don't realise that they're the butt of the joke. Ha ha. I mean, it just felt like provocation. It was like, look what I can do. Aren't I smart? Fuck you, you're not. But as it started going on, and the next bit was the where you assault that radio station where that DJ is constantly making jokes about the situation, about how he was my friend that you just killed. And there's that other bit where he says, when you parasail down, are you guys coming over here to clean this mess up? Jokes about the situation that were actually kind of amusing and drew attention to what you've done. It's so hard. I should have focused this argument before I started talking. It's so difficult. But basically, it draws to the situation very, very well. And the way it turns from an action game into a game that's supposed to make you think about what you're doing. I mean, there's periods throughout the game where you think, hold on a minute. Like the bit when you hijack the water and deliberately destroy it. So, killing everybody. I mean, you're just like, am I supposed to be doing this?
Yeah, well, I know all of that stuff's very, very interesting. I guess my problem is that it's a shame they didn't really marry the gameplay to... I just felt that it didn't quite commit to their ideologies enough with what the game ended up being to play. It was turret, especially in the last third, which was just turret sections as far as I can remember. Endless turret sections against millions of enemies.
But they did deal with that. They did deal with that to some extent. I mean, the best part, when you get to the end and the guy basically says, of course you're mental. That entire mission was just conducted because you were following every direction by a voice, literally a voice in your head, which seemed like such a nice dig at every action game, because every action game, that's the structure. You're told what to do by someone telling you what to do, and you don't really question it. You just do it.
Yeah.
And particularly for
it's not that's not done as well as it is in BioShock though.
How do you? They don't really deal with that in BioShock.
That's the entire core tenet of BioShock story. The major twist. It's with BioShock spoilers now. It is the guy did that exact thing that you just said. The guy, the voice in your head. You're doing exactly what it said, and it turns out that you've just been programmed to do that. And it's all the entire things like a debate about control and I can't remember the word. It's like begins with autocracy and terrible explanation. But basically exactly what you said just then about the voice in your head is the exact core tenet of BioShock's story.
That probably didn't hit me as much because I don't think it was. I mean, that's standard practice in every action game now. In every action game, I was trying to think of an example of something that wasn't, but that didn't fit into that mold. But it doesn't. I mean, that's just the way action games are, and it's annoying because I like to always think that publishers push that onto developers. Because we've got to make sure that it's accessible and all that stuff. Because there are a million different ways for a developer to guide us on our way, so to speak, that haven't even been invented yet, and they can't be invented if publishers are forced. Again, I'm making an assumption, but they're forced to sort of make us sort of be directed everywhere, told where to go. I thought that was a nice moment. I mean, it's probably because BioShock didn't come when it was just everywhere. And the big moment where you basically kill a shitload of innocent people by accident.
Yeah,
that was done really, really beautifully. And
that was.
People compared it to No Russian, and I thought I can't remember whether I thought that the person doing that was trying to make that sound negative, but because I thought No Russian was a fantastically well handled set piece. Genuinely unnerving and unpleasant. And when I played through the game again, I snapped up the option to not do that again. With that horrible soundtrack and the fact that you couldn't run, and it was nasty, and so was this. And I love the fact that the whole time you were carrying this all out, there was just a hint of a reflection you could see your face doing it, and then you were forced to walk through it. I mean, I probably just sound like just a massive just fucking blur, but there's so much that I liked about it. And I think it's going to deserve those awards that it's inevitably going to be nominated for writing. I thought it was very, very good. The only one bad moment that I really thought was genuinely bad, where Walker, your character, had a He-Man moment where he flew out of a building, fell down the side of a skyscraper, and he survived something ridiculous, which just completely absurd. And also, very quickly, the end. Why was that a choice?
Yeah, it kind of lost me by that point, to be honest.
Did it really?
Yeah, I was just like, so what's happening?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's when I was at my most engaged, when they were like, do you kill the spectre that's in your head, or do you sort of not kill him? And if you kill him, obviously you die. What bothers me is that if I made this game, I wouldn't want an option for anyone to be pull the trigger, the credits roll, and as far as you're concerned, that's the end of the game. Because the other option is you have this whole other sequence, and then you have the option of 2 further endings. So it seems weird that someone can walk away from this game from just the credits rolling and not see what the real
I think I did do that.
Oh, did you pull the trigger on the guy at the end?
I didn't press anything, and then someone shot me.
Were you out in the? Is this when you were out in the desert and all those guys? Oh shit!
I was up in a room.
With this guy
that's painting.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and you've got the choice. You can shoot.
Oh, that's right. If
picture
you don't
of yourself
shoot,
of him.
Yeah,
and I didn't shoot, and he shot me. I think
that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. That's the end where the credits roll after that. There's a whole other thing going on if you carry that on, and it sort of hits home how mad this character that you've been playing.
Right. I'll YouTube that in a minute.
That's a real show. Because that's what I mean. You didn't even see what the game was all about, and
hence, fuck. There you go. And through no fault of my own.
When I realised that was the case, I thought if I put all my hours, my life into making this game, the fact that someone could walk away with the wrong idea about it, why would that be an option to someone? That was man, that sucks, because that's where it really kind of sort of takes shape. What a shame.
Yeah, I'll have to YouTube it. So I didn't get from the ending what you seem to have got, which I don't think it would have changed my opinion of the game, because I loved everything about it apart from the game, if that makes any sense, which I liked. But
the game was generic, but so much of what happened at the end seemed to be based around it. It's no better or worse than a lot of games that we all play, but the way that it was presented as like it was also a little bit subtle about it. That's the other thing. It wasn't really. I thought it was going to be Sledgehammer. When I saw that caption come up on the menu screen, I was like, "Go fuck yourself! I'm not going to be preached to by a game that's making me fucking." But anyway, it's so hard for me to articulate what I feel about it. I should have sat down and written something about it before I started talking on the podcast. But it's very special. At the same time, it's not special enough in terms of gameplay, just because it's been done a million times. But writing awards that it's going to be up for at the end of the year, it deserves them for sure, I reckon.
Isn't it nice to have a game that looked for all the world like it was going to be another dumb shooter and was written off by many people as that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, as a game that's now worth talking about.
No doubt. I mean, I knew too much about it. And it turns out I didn't know anything about it, and that's one of the things that I'm most pleased about, really.
But yeah, I'm glad I played it. I just wish there hadn't been so many turret sections.
Oh, I'm with you. It's weird. It's weird. I could talk about that game all night, and I'm trying to stop myself from having all these million ideas fighting each other. But anyway, we've been going for about 600 years, so that's the end of the.
Well, it's
podcast.
It was a special edition.
The comeback episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much for listening. As usual, check out the website if you haven't already. The FineArtPlaylist.com stuff's on there. Follow us on Twitter.
John Vincent,
Chet Roivas, done. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you next week, and we're going to try and make brevity paramount once more. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, Captain, we drove through this whole city to find you. We saw things. You don't mind me asking, what was it like? How'd you survive all this?
Who said I did?